Let's be real for a second. In today's world, a major cyber attack isn't some far-off possibility. It's pretty much a guarantee. So the real question isn't if it's going to happen, but when. And when it does, is your team going to panic and just fall apart? Or are they going to execute a calm, practiced response? We're going to explore the one tool that can make all the difference between total chaos and being in control, the cyber crisis simulation.
Just let that number sink in. A whopping 86% of business leaders believe a catastrophic cyber event is likely in the next 2 years. We're not talking about a small glitch here. They're expecting a major disaster. So, this isn't some abstract threat anymore. It's what's keeping people in the boardroom up at night.
And that right there forces a huge shift in how we think about this. The goal isn't just about trying to prevent an attack anymore. That's only half the battle. Now, it's all about resilience. It's about getting your team ready to perform under some serious pressure the very moment that win finally arrives.
So, okay, if we just accept that a crisis is on its way, how in the world do you prepare for that kind of chaos, for that kind of pressure? Well, the answer is actually pretty simple. You practice.
I love this analogy because it's so simple, but so powerful. I mean, think about it. We don't wait for a building to be on fire to figure out where the exits are, right? So why on earth would we wait for a massive cyber attack to read our response plan for the very first time?
All right, let's dive in and break down what this digital fire drill actually looks like. It's a structured, proactive way to get your entire team ready for the real deal.
The most important part of this whole thing is that it's a safe space. It's a rehearsal. You get to face a super realistic attack scenario, but without any of the real-world consequences. This lets you find all your weak spots and fix them before an actual attacker finds them for you.
Now, these simulations usually come in 2 main flavors. First, you've got your tabletop exercises. Think of this like discussing your game strategy before you play. You're talking through the playbook. Then you have the more intense, hands-on simulations. These are like a full-on team scrimmage, testing how your team actually reacts in real time when the pressure is on.
And that really gets to the heart of it. The whole point is to fail safely. It is so much better to find out your communication plan has holes or that a key person doesn't know what to do during a practice drill than it is during a live ransomware attack. You get a free pass to mess up and learn.
And the benefits here are huge. You're not just finding flaws, you're building muscle memory for your whole organization. This improves response speed, which directly cuts down on financial and reputational damage. Plus, you're meeting the growing demands from your board and from regulators, who pretty much expect this level of preparedness now.
And if you need a number to really drive this home, look at the financial impact. It is staggering. Data shows that companies with an incident response plan, they've actually practiced, actually tested, saved an average of $1.3 million per breach. That's a massive, undeniable return on investment.
And don't think for a second that these are rare events. Just look at the data from the UK. While about a third of all businesses got hit, that risk is not spread out evenly. For medium-sized companies, it jumps to 59%, and for large ones, almost 70%. It just proves that the bigger you are, the bigger the target on your back becomes.
Okay, so I think we're all pretty convinced on the why. So let's shift gears to the how. Let's look at the practical playbook for getting this done in your own organization.
Building an effective simulation follows a really clear, logical path. You start with specific goals. You pick a believable threat, like a ransomware attack, and you get your cross-functional team together. Then you run the scenario. And maybe most importantly, you debrief afterwards to figure out what you learned. And then you do it all over again, regularly.
This right here might be the single most important mindset shift you can make. A cyber crisis is never, ever just an IT problem that gets solved in a server room. No way. It's a full-blown business problem that threatens your operations, your reputation, and your bottom line.
So who actually needs to be in that room when you run the drill? Well, of course, you need your IT and security folks, but you absolutely need leadership there because big incidents require big, high-stakes decisions fast. You need HR and communications to handle how you talk to your employees and the public. And you definitely need your legal team to navigate the messy web of compliance and liability.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. This is a top priority for Chief Information Security Officers, the top security execs. They know that a successful response totally depends on breaking down those department silos and getting the tech experts and the business experts speaking the same language, especially under pressure.
So what this all leads to is something much bigger than just passing a test. It's about building resilience right into the DNA of your organization.
A simulation isn't something you do once, check a box, and forget about. Real resilience comes from making it a continuous cycle. You practice, you learn from your mistakes, you improve your plan, and then you practice all over again against a new kind of threat.
This slide really just says it all. It captures the whole transformation. Before you start doing this, the mindset is reactive. Afterwards, it becomes proactive. The response goes from panic and chaos to calm and coordinated. And most importantly, the culture shifts from siloed finger-pointing to a truly collaborative defense.
At the end of the day, it all boils down to a simple truth about how we perform under pressure. When the alarms are blaring and everything's on the line, you don't rise to the occasion. You fall back on your training. And that's why preparation is the only real antidote to panic.
So that leaves us with one final, critical question to think about. We know the crisis is coming. We know it's on the horizon. After everything we've talked about, you really have to ask yourself, is my team truly ready to face it?